So, I'm here tonight in my PJs and a new shirt, which is my Camp Crystal Lake shirt, and I hadn't planned to do anything tonight. I really didn't because I worked late and so it's back there. I got asked a couple questions recently. I think it's probably like some people that either just that have just started watching my channel or watched for a while just haven't like really spoke out. But I had a few people basically say that they kind of want to get into collecting, that they want to, that they see all these companies, like they see the Scream Factories and the Vinegar Syndromes and the Kinos and the Arrows, and it can be a bit overwhelming. And to start out, it can be a bit expensive. So how exactly and where exactly do you find your niche? How do you know like this is what I'm into without spending a fortune and without just without you know spending a ton of money and just realizing, okay, I'm not kind of into this, and maybe I should go off in another direction with my collecting. And especially nowadays, there's not the same way that it was like even 5 or 6 years ago. A lot of the collecting now, there's a lot of marquee like brands and titles that you have to choose from. There's a lot of companies, especially genre companies. Hey Ken, how's it going? I hope you're having a great night there. That are going for your buck. So how do you find out? Hey Cubic Lover, because not everybody goes in with an immense amount of like knowledge, or you could be younger. They may not have been into films. They may just be like coming about like, finding stuff through YouTube and finding different channels like not just mine, but like a lot of other channels out there that talk about these type of titles. That talk about like going after, and it can be very kind of like alluring to say, oh, I've got the latest Vestron, or I've got the latest Scream Factory, I've got the latest Arrow video like set. But until you do it, hey Tim, how's it going? Until you've got some, hey Carlos, it's tomorrow in Texas. It's tomorrow here. It's after 2 here actually. How do you kind of decide what it is that you're going for? So what I thought is what I do is I kind of dive into somewhat of the stuff that helps people get to where they're at. And it's a good time right now because October is coming up, Halloween is coming up, and if you're into horror, and or if you're just getting into it, then there's a lot of companies that are vying for your dollar, and there are a lot of really great ones. And I started off doing like verses and stuff like that, and I will going to eventually get back into doing a few of those when I do more kind of like not so so many live, when I not doing a live video, but more of like just a shot one. But one of the easiest and quickest ways to get into to see what type of genre, see what kind of floats your boat, more or less, is to look at a lot of the cheaper labels and the multi packs and see what they have to offer. So I've got a few multi packs here, and I'm going to kind of go through a couple of them, and you guys can like shout out some along the way and give some suggestions, because there are people that do come in here that don't talk a lot, and that wonder, is this, this is $30 to buy this Blu-ray. This one here is, this set is $50. Am I really going to like it? Is Vinegar Syndrome for me? Exactly, Carlos. That's what we're going to do. It's time to pull up the old Mill Creek. And Mill Creek now, like a lot of people just that are coming and collecting now, won't know Mill Creek in the way that a lot of collectors are going to know Mill Creek. We know Mill Creek and we know BCI and companies like that for their old for their packs, their sets. Now, if you look at a lot of Mill Creek now, a lot of people who probably just see Mill Creek now know them mostly for a lot of their TV stuff, a lot of their kind of like Blu-ray double features and stuff like that. That's showing up, and those are some great ways to find some stuff like that. So I'm going to put some Mill Creek, some Elko Bridge, and I'm going to tell you why and which movies on the sets I think are really worth having it for. Hey Savannah, I don't feel too sexy right now. I'm in my PJs and my hair's a mess. But we'll start out with this one right here. And it was a recent buy. I bought it for $1, but you usually find this one. It's like one of the newer ones, Echo Bridge put out. Hey, Scaredy. Uh, and it's one called the Shadows Collection. Now it's got a really cool like little cover, and the Creek was supposedly a spaghetti western double feature. One was Fort Yuma Gold with Gemma, which you really wanted to see. Was that your first Mill Creek? We'll get into some spaghetti western ones. I've got a few of them here, and if you're want to get into spaghetti westerns, they canceled it. Oh, I hate that. When the maybe I'm guessing there's a reason behind that. Maybe that's because Ken, there's another company that snapped up the rights to put it a sexy edition, maybe an Arrow type thing. So you never know. Uh, Arrow does a lot of the spaghetti westerns, and we really don't have like a really I kind of got Kiyomo and Grand Duel one. I have that. That's a cool one actually. Uh, but I would like to see maybe Shout Factory, they do the Scream Factory stuff. Wouldn't be really hard, like to see like Shout Factory go and do like kind of do like a spaghetti western, like kind of a sub label. I would be all for that to see them do collector's editions of like some fantastic spaghetti westerns. We get like a couple like from Grindhouse and other companies like that. Yeah, Gem and Double Feature. Yeah, see that's the thing. They put out a few things like the Shout Factory ones. Put out those Django sets. That was a great way to find out about those. So you're adorable, kitty. He always comes in on making videos, and it's like he knows, and he knows he's cute. But so this set here, and it's a pretty cheesy set. So why would you pick up the Shadow set? You can buy it for like $5, usually in a bin or less at any Walmart. But there's a couple good ones on here. There's a couple like gems, basically that they got better editions now, of course. Have one Chip Factory Blu-ray, which is Fargo, which my uncle is borrowing right now. That cat is part of film club. Oh yeah, he is. He definitely is. You're like you're like the mascot right now. Basically, this has Gothic on it by Ken Russell, and if you haven't seen that, Vestron put out like a really kick-ass but expensive edition of this one here, and I do think that Gothic is worth checking out. It's actually a really good Ken Russell film, and it's got a great cast. We got Natasha Richardson, Julian Sands, Gabrielle Byrne. If you haven't seen it, I do recommend it. And this is a really good way to see it before you go out. Like if you've never seen Ken Russell before, definitely check this out. There's other ones on this, like there's a Full Moons, Netherworld, which I think is kind of not their best work, but I think it's underrated as far as like some of the other earlier kind of Full Moons go. And they have some like more so like stuff like Backwoods with Haley Duff and some other stuff like that are just fun watches around Halloween time. So yeah, I definitely would say for Gothic alone, and I just get Netherworld too. Like if you don't have them, and not have to spend like $40 to buy Gothic, that's actually not a bad way to do it. Have I seen the Devils? I love the Devils. It's actually I've got the BFI release of the Devils, Cubic Clever. You got a cheap DVD Gothic, but I missed out on the Mill Creek version since they replaced it with another movie. Yeah, they would have had to, didn't they? Because they had a few like that. I've got a couple sets here that are actually pretty much the same set with the exact same name on it, except that the an earlier release was in cardboard and had separate different movies on it. And then they put out a plastic case release. And the plastic case release would then have movies that they had lost the rights to or that they really didn't have the rights to, but shoved on there anyway, hoping that somebody wouldn't see. And eventually the company that actually did have the rights to it saw it and demanded that that be pulled. Now, this is one that I find at a lot of like Dollaramas and dollar stores and stuff like that, and it has its place. It definitely has its place. Hey, baby. And this one here. This is one that I searched out. Dead Time Stories, Creepers, Gothic, were three that you had to pull. Was that on the Chilling set? I've got like both versions of the Chilling set, so I'd have to check. Dead Time Stories is one that I do want to get the newer edition of. But this one here has a movie on it that I don't think has been available on a really good release yet, and it's a TV horror film that's wholly underrated, in my opinion. And with stuff coming out like Night Stalker and Night Strangler and Trilogy of Terror from Kino, it's kind of neat to look back and see some of the early stuff that the Chilling had Dead Time Stories, but they had to pull it. I've got the Chilling over there, so I'll actually check that out. No, not come over, sweetheart. Uh, but This set here, guys, if you don't have it, there's a little movie on here, and you won't even notice it, or if you don't know what you're looking for. But it's called Replaced with Gothic. Oh, I did pull that as well. One here called Home for the Holidays. So Home for the Holidays is actually a really hard to find, like 1970s pseudo slasher. Came on TV. One of my streaming platforms called Moby has Ken Russell's French Dressing. I don't know if I've seen that one. I don't think I've seen that one. That's it. Did that ever get a physical release? So yeah, if you have never seen Home for the Holidays, this is the only way to see it. And it has a little thing in here basically to talk about the stuffs here. And a few of these are like definitely kind of go over. But Home for the Holidays had a couple actual stars in it. Sally Fields actually, and Walter Brennan. But it's a early 1970s film. But it is kind of like a stalker slasher type of film, one that is like heavily looked for, and like highly regarded. He was in the Driving Classic 50 pack, but that was there. Argento's U.S. kind of phenomenon. Yeah, that's like the original. You had to find it. That's a good Thanksgiving dramedy called Home for. That's one actually. That's right here, Home for the Holidays, guy. And this is the only place that I personally could find this film. And it is like in the TV horror. I would consider it in the TV horror like category. That's the exact reason that I went out. Like I went to a bunch of different stores looking for this set just to find Home for the Holidays to have it in my collection. It's one that I've been looking for a long time, and I honestly had not seen it since like it had reran on TV because I didn't see it in its original run. I was way too young for it. Now, Giallo is another daunting genre to get into. And before I get back to the Mill Creeks, I think it'll be nice to talk about popcorn flicks and the three that they put out. That if you ever wanted to get a start, like to get a look at into the Giallo genre, these are some great sets to get a start with. So they put out the Deadly Fiends collection with the Case of the Bloody Iris, Your Vice is a Locked Room and Only I Have the Key, Death Laid an Egg, and The Dark is Death's Friend. And some of these have like other titles, and like Lucio Cosi directed one. We got a one here directed by Sergio Martino. Like some of these now have some amazing, like incredible additions. But if you want to get it, like kind of get an inexpensive version of this, and a lot of these, like most of these here are widescreen editions as well. So you're actually getting a decent like look at the film. No features, of course, but it's a good way to see if Giallo is your thing, and to get not just a look at one Giallo, but look at like four different Giallos, and maybe different directors have like a certain different style. So you may find that you're not so much into Death Laid an Egg, but you may be really into Your Voice is a Locked Room and Only I Have the Key, which is done by Sergio Martino, who I think is right up there with Argento and all those guys as being just a master of doing the Giallo genre. So definitely one to check out. And speaking of Argento, you guys know I recently picked up the Cat of Nine Tails special edition. So if you're like thinking, do I want to spend $40 or $50 to buy Cat of Nine Tails? This set right here called Blood Red Nights is a really good way to dip your toe into Argento. We got some Deep Red here, which is one of is considered his greatest film. Kids and Gummo, and there's movies. I don't remember Gummo that well, but I do remember Kids. I think Clark did the film, and a really good film. But it's an unflinching look at youth, for sure. Deep Red's on here. The Cat of Nine Tails, one I got, is on here. Seven Blood Stained Orchids, and Short Night of the Glass Dolls. Again, some great stuff. You got Short Night of the Glass Dolls is an Otto Lato film. Speaking of Mill Creek, you got a 4 DVD set box of Hitchcock. Look, that maybe the transfers aren't that good, but I keep. Oh yeah, that's the thing. There's so much stuff that you can be introduced to through this. Savannah, if you get any of the Mill Creek or that type of stuff, there's a few TV shows that like this one here. Oh, I just hurt my hand. Is The Red Queen Kills Seven Times, which is a fantastic Giallo. The Fifth Chord I really like. Seven Nights, Notes in Black, otherwise known as The Psychic by Lucio Fulci. And of course, Don't Torture a Duckling, which is one of the greatest Giallos of all time. And if you've never seen it, you owe it to yourself to see that movie. And definitely down the road, grab the Arrow edition of Don't Torture a Duckling, because it is an incredibly amazing film that I think everybody should see. It was controversial in its day, but it definitely it leaves its mark. It will definitely leave its mark. Got the comedy pack. It's an interesting mix of films. I I've got the Comedy Kings one, and maybe I'll go through a lot of my that VCI set with horror movies filmed in the Philippines. Ah, Eddie Ramiro. I love Eddie Ramiro. Now, this is one of the my most kind of beaten up sets, probably because I watched this one the most. And if you're like a fan of like the Vinegar Syndrome stuff, and you want to see, and you've got some really good kind of VCI stuff, maybe this set here is actually really really good to see. And you got to know going in that a lot of these movies here are going to be like may not be the best condition. You're not buying like a $30 Filipino or something. Yeah, I love those. You're not going to be getting like the best edition of the films. Some of these times you'll luck into like a really good print. Other times it looks like it's a VHS print of it. Scream Theater 12 Cheap Chills. I got that over there actually. That's the one that has Absolution. What's the name of the film? With Brooke Shields. Anchor Bay, the Giallo collection. Yeah, Bloodstained Shadow and Case of Blood. Bloodstained Shadow is a fantastic film. Otto Leto actually directed that one. So, Alice Sweet Alice, thank you very much. There's otherwise known as Communion, right? It had so many titles. Barb Box one of those. She isn't one of those actually. Letterbox Tape Master. See, that's the thing. And this one here is called Drive-In Movie Classics. Now, some of these aren't, the best quality prints, but the cool thing about it is, as convenient, thank you, as Drive-In Movie Classics is that it's kind of grindhousey. So if you've seen like the grindhouse thing that Tarantino did with Rodriguez, or you kind of just interested in the grindhouse thing altogether, the fact that some of these are a little bit more beaten up actually works in their favor when you're looking at something called a Drive-In Movie Classics collection. And there are some actually really good ones on here. We got Absolution with Richard Burton. Some just really cool cheesy stuff. Blood Mania, of course, which would get a big set. Count Dracula and his Vampire Brides, otherwise known as the Satanic Rites of Dracula. That's what the Last Hammer one. Now, Creeper's on here, but this isn't Creeper as in the Creepers that you'd think about, Saban, or like a lot of people think about when they'd say Creepers being like the other Phenomenon film. This is Creeper as in Hell Holbrook. And there's another name for this movie, and it's a film that I love. Rituals. Thank you, Tim. You're the man tonight. Rituals is a fantastic film. If you've ever seen like Deliverance or films like that, Rituals is really really good. And Creeper was like an alternative title for that film. And this one here actually has Rituals, which still to this day needs a much better release than it has gotten. But it is a movie that I do suggest everybody check out. We got things in there like Don't Look in the Basement, which now has a really decent release. Don't Open Till Christmas, which has a good release from Mon Macabre, an amazing release from Mon Macabre that I do recommend. Scorpion is doing Rituals. See, that is awesome. I'm glad it's not Code Red. Is that sad? But Rituals, definitely. That's a movie that I think deserves deserves to be watched. So if you've never seen it, you see this set somewhere or set that has Creeper on it you see Hal Holbrook's name. That's Rituals. Check that out. It is a fantastic film. It's definitely one on Blu-ray when it comes out. And that's the cool thing about going through these sets. You can find some movies that are really really neat. Kind of color correct the print used for the DVD. But at least that's the thing. They're working on it and they're doing as you see pixel restoration work. I'm actually going to check that out now before I go to sleep. But this one has, a lot of really, really good films on here. We got things like Invasion of the Bee-Girls with William Smith. Just like so many cool things. Legend of Bigfoot. One called Mad Dog. A 1971 like one with Mickey Rooney called The Manipulator. Night Train to Terror, which had an amazing release also by Vinegar Syndrome, by the way, that I do think everybody should check out. Night Train to Terror. It's cheesy badness. This is such a good set. This is such a really good set. We got Save the Cannibal Gods, which is another Sergio Martino film. Snow Beast is on here. TNT Jackson. Trauma is on here with Fabio Testi. And I wish that was the Trauma that was the Argento one. But now there is one, Unsane, which is the American cut of Tenebrae. Actually, my favorite Argento film. and I do recommend that you definitely check that one out. So that's the drive-in movie classics collection. If you can pick that one up for a decent price, I'd say we call it 54-inch chest. That sounds like a Chesty Morgan film, Savannah. And if it is a Chesty Morgan film, I can tell you at one point or another I've seen it. There was a channel that came on TV called Sex. What channel it came on back in the day called Sex TV, and they showed them all. I just went to my closet because I knew I had at least one Vinegar Syndrome. There must be more than one. I put Pigs by Mark Lawrence. I got to see Pigs is one that I did get cheaper. Well, not like cheap. I bought it from Trauma, actually, from Trauma. It's an English movie. Okay. Because I thought, you said 44-inch chest. I thought something different. I apologize, but I did, you know. You've got the Driving Classics 50 pack. I pretty much think, Tim, that me and you got a lot of the same sets when it comes to a lot of the stuff here. We seem to have a lot of the same tastes as well. Now, if you're not familiar with Peplum, uh, it's a genre that you're either going to love or you're going to hate. I think there's no like in between when it comes to Peplum films. And Peplum is like are Italian films. They're like Hercules, like strongman type films, machista, stuff like that. So they're fantasy films. They're very fantasy oriented. And if you're like a Ray Harryhausen person, about the 200 set that are repeated, but seen very few. The 200 sets are out. I wanted you got the Driving Classics 200 set. That's amazing. That's the one with the really nice cover, right? I like lust over that one. Liquid Sky. Oh, Liquid Sky here is really good. I wonder we went for deep discount. It was cheaper than buying them directly from Vinegar Syndrome, but didn't get slip covers. See, that's the thing. Sometimes I like with Demon Wind and stuff, I want the slip covers, but some of them I know, like, you know, okay, with pets, I really want a slip cover on that one because I'm a really big fan of pets, but not every time. Like, I'm okay if I get Liquid Sky and it doesn't have a slip cover because I'm going to get it for the Sea Liquid Sky. I'm not going to be, you know, the slip cover is not the one, not going to be the make or break for me for that. So you made the right decision there, I think. But yeah, so this here is the Warrior set, one of the early sets that came out. As you can see, some of these here I bought, they're not even like opened up. Like I have like basically sets that kind of like cross over and they have like a lot of the same films on them and different ones. Pets and Sweet Sugar ordered direct, so I got, yeah, Sweet Sugar was so good, and I didn't know it was going to be. But if you're a Peplum fan, if you like the Hercules films and stuff like that, then you'll love this kind of super cheesy stuff. That, of course, is Steve Reeves on the cover, who's kind of probably one of the best known Hercules of all times. You get like stuff here like you got with Gordon Mitchell, Steve Reeves, Cameron Mitchell. Of course, Alan Ladd does some stuff. Mark Forrest, who did was famous for a lot of this stuff. Roger Moore actually is in one of these. Romulus and Sabine's. Just an incredible set. Like a lot of Mark Forrest films, or Goliath films and Hercules films that he did. Love Peplum, but I like them best when they have monsters in them. And I gotta agree. And like, because I think a lot of it comes for me, Tim. Basically, is I grew up on Ray Harryhausen. Usually because it's public domain, or when it comes to stuff like this, well, 50s, it's public domain or movies that they can sneak out that they don't think companies are going to know. But companies aren't going to realize that they actually grabbed them up, and sometimes they don't, and sometimes like Tim mentioned earlier, when they had to take movies off of their sets, that they obviously do. And sometimes it's just the innocence of basically them not actually looking into it enough to know if there's actually a rights holder out there. Because these sets are put up pretty fast and you get whatever prints you can get. Sometimes that means amazing prints. I've seen ones, I think it was a BCI release that I had once. I turned on the film and literally there was the opening for a redemption label at the beginning of the film. And I'm like, that Redemption did not give them the rights to that. But if that, you know, that's early Redemption before the Kino Redemption stuff was done. But it was an early one. This one, and they have such cool covers too. So this is Night Screams. Hung out with Ray Harryhausen. I know, I'm so jealous that I love Ray Harryhausen. Devil's Rip-Off Nightmare was a rip-off of Redemption. That's the one I'm talking about. That's what I was watching, and it shows that, you know, that kind of like the kind of the lesbian scene that comes on the beginning of like the Redemption titles. Like one of them, they have these like different ones that they show at the beginning, but that actually comes at the Devil's Nightmare, and I think I got that here somewhere still. And this one has like some older and newer stuff. There's a mixture here. A lot of older stuff, but Kiss Me, Kill Me with Carol Baker's on here. Definitely worth owning for a night tide with Dennis Hopper. Worth checking out rather than buying it like a really expensive edition. Some early Lon Chaney stuff like A Scream in the Night. Cheesy stuff like Ghost on the Loose. It's Vampire Batwoman, Lesbian. Yeah, I, uh, I re- I love that actually. I wish did they still do that now, because I'm gonna leave the chilling one to last because basically I've got both versions. So I'll look at them there and I'll show you guys what I mean. So this one is Pure Terror. What's really cool is that they have these like modern day looking like vampires or type things on here that really have nothing to do with these films or these sets at all, to be completely honest with you. But that being said, I can break down like what some of the great movies to watch on this that are just, very easily. And I'll tell you right now, there's some Paul Naschy stuff. If you're a fan of Paul Naschy, you're just going to do the Paul Naschy. Then yeah, Pure Terror. This is a cool one actually. There's some Naschy on here that's worth looking into. We got and some great films. So we got like we got The Devil's Nightmare actually. The Devil Possessed, which is Paul Naschy. Dr. Jekyll and the Werewolf. That's a really good Naschy film. Don't Answer the Phone is on here. We have The Grave of the Vampire. If you have not seen Grave of the Vampire, I strongly recommend you check that out. It is a really great little like kind of a vampire film that a lot of people have missed out on that I think really should be seen. Frankenstein 80 was one that I was looking for ages. I remember this set was one that had it. Horror Rise from the Tombs. That's three Naschy films on here. And you know how expensive those Naschy sets are from Screen Factory? Great stuff. Cheesy stuff like Manos and The Hands of Fate. Stuff definitely worth seeing. You may not want to spend a bunch of money for. And just a lot of really cool stuff. The Undertaker and his pals, Ray Dennis Stickler, did it, and you guys got Vampires Night Orgy, and like they saved Hitler's brain. It's a cut version of Dr. Jekyll and the Werewolf. No opening credits and the nudities, cut on most. That's the thing. Do I have the movie American Werewolf in London? I have I've got I got a few editions of American Werewolf in London. Oh no, I got one. I got the Moonlight edition, the Full Moon edition. I'm a huge fan of werewolf films. Like my dad is a huge werewolf fan. So and that's the thing. When you guys see like this and you see like, oh man, I wish I could see more, or it seems like you'll see some of these and something's missing. That's usually because, and like just Tim mentioned right there, is because they'll get a cut of the film that's not, that could be like an early American cut of the film that came out. They get whatever cut they can. They're not looking for the big, like the best cut that you can find that you'd see like in a Scream Factory or an Arrow or Vinegar or one of those things. They're just grabbing whatever they can for as cheap as they can. But it's a neat way to kind of see, to get kind of a glimpse of the movies. And some of them will seem like a mess. Unsane, for instance, with Dario Argento. When you see the actual edition of it, you're going to be amazed. Had the book that they released with only 200 copies signed by the actor director. That's really sweet. It's pretty much Quanyo. It is exactly Quanyo quality. Horror Rise from Tomb is also a cut TV version of it. They'll take whatever they can get. But the thing is, when some of these sets are like $70 or $80, and you're not quite sure, if you've never seen a Naschy film in your life, if you've never seen any of these things here, then it can seem a little like, should I pick this up? I think I think Naschy is definitely someone to look into. But here's the thing: not everybody's going to like what Naschy puts out. That's the honest truth. And I got friends that'll come up and they'll ask me, okay, this is coming out. Should I pick this up? I really don't know. And sometimes I'll be on it. I'll be honest all the time, and I'll tell them, okay, yeah, I think you will, basically based on their taste. Or sometimes I'll be like, if you're not into this type of movie, this movie's type on the sleazy side. So buy DVDs, I don't mind sometimes buying movies that might not have the best transfers. And that's the cool thing. You can do that, especially when it comes to like a lot of the DVD stuff. That's maybe like kind of like this stuff is kind of like if you can find it like like in a $5 bin or at a Walmart or something like that for fairly cheap. It's a good way to get a taste, to get like kind of get a mixture of stuff. Like this one here is called Horror Classics, and I think I paid like $4 for this one. I bought this one at a flea market actually, and it was actually unopened. It had the plastic on it. And it's 100. So this is probably a combination of a couple sets, but again, there are some great things on here, and it's done in like there's movies like Savage Weekend are on here. There's things like see, I'll try to find different things here. Tales of Frankenstein, which is actually is a TV pilot between Hammer and Universal, done with Anton Diffring in it. You get a lot of stuff go over. Like you're gonna see like things like Legacy of Blood on here. You'll see like Good Against Evil with the Dak Rambo TV film. Definitely worth checking into. Egaz on here, which was a classic Mystery Science Theater episode. And with that, I'm going to put these back. And there's a couple other of those that I want to show you guys. So I'll be right back. So please stay with me. I'm not going upstairs or anything. I'm just going to go right over there. So you're going to get to see my really cool like PJs that I'm wearing tonight. So I apologize for that. But they got the Avengers on them. So that's kind of cool. See, told you to be back. So I'll show you off a couple of the other ones before I get into the one that I want to kind of like say. It's always sell for $1 a piece. That's the thing, right? And also VHS. VHS is a great way to find that stuff too. If you have still have VCR. What's those orange cases beside me? The other one. So this here is my Dragon Ball Z collection. I'm a big anime geek, and this one right. This is Dragon Ball. The only have one of the this one here, right, Carlos? And it is Dragon Ball Z, and that's Dragon Ball GT. And although that may seem like kind of controversial, my better half really likes it. Hey Jesse, and you came in at the well, not at the tail end, but at the halfway point, I guess. I'm going to some of these sets that I've got here, and a good way to actually start. And even some of the ones like the comedy sets. This is the Comedy King set, and it has actually some decent stuff on here. If there's like some Buster Keaton, some Farley Granger, some Charlie Chaplin, some cool stuff like that. And here's another quick one to show you guys. Is like the because it was a Family Classics one that I picked up. But let's get into the like kind of the meat like of this stuff here. How many discs are in each of those? They look thick. They are actually fairly thick. And you got the Comedy King set, but it's yellow. Yeah, that's the thing. You always put like different case. This is like the original Comedy Kings, I think. This one is put out in 2007, so maybe it's not. It's just usually when I see like the cardboard cases, I kind of think that it's probably like an early release. So just so you see, Savannah, they'll have like double-sided discs, right? 25 discs each, and like in the 50 packs. Now, if it's a really good pack, a lot of times they'll do this. They'll have these here in as well, and basically, this one here, for instance, it'll give you a Dragon Ball Z. Oh, these are around 6 or 7 discs each. These ones here will have these booklets, and like this one here is really good. I have like the cast members, and I have like a little description. So a lot of these won't have like descriptions telling you what it is, but this one here, especially with those Sartana sets out and the new Django set coming out and stuff like that. This spaghetti western set is actually a really cool way to see some of the spaghetti westerns that are out there, and just to see some stuff that's on here. And there's some great stuff on here, by the way. We got like the classic Death Rides Horses on here, Django Kills, Django versus Sartana. And Creek has started doing streaming. We have a few streaming versions when you buy them. Yeah, I know. That kind of surprised me. I actually Wouldn't mind that for like some of their TV stuff or some like the sets. Though I love the westerns, he has heaps. So these are spaghetti western Savannah. The spaghetti westerns are the ones that I would recommend to more so to a younger audience than I would say like maybe like the classic westerns. Spaghetti westerns are Italian westerns. They're more usually more violent. They'll have like more like kind of like under like tones of pseudo sexuality. Maybe in some cases some darker anti-heroes that are in there as well, and they take a different run on it, and some of them use a lot of humor as well. There's some great stuff on here. Grand Duel, which is one of the great westerns of all times. Some of them, Jesse, it's a hit or miss. To be honest with you, the quality is a hit or miss, but it's a good way if you can get them for cheap to actually get a glimpse, get a taste, get a feel of some of the movies before you actually go out and you spend like a huge amount. Because some of these here, actually, they're some of the the stuff like the Sartana stuff and all that. They're out in some bigger sets and some better sets. That's and that is the way that you ultimately want to have these. But if you're going in and you've never seen any of these films or you haven't experienced any of them and you're kind of wondering, do you want to spend $100 to buy this? Just rip off slow, yeah. You kind of just you. This is a good way to start it, to get like that. Like if you watched my video last night, those ones, the pendulum pictures ones, they're the easiest way to get them is through those Mill Creek sets, and they're hard to find now, but definitely worth picking up. 2 Week Survivor 70s. I know you're a huge Survivor fan. At least you're watching the movie. That's what counts in the end. You're getting to see the movie, and hopefully you're getting a taste of what you like. So if you're not quite sure, if you've only seen a John Wayne Western and you wonder what spaghetti westerns are like, if you've never watched a Giallo, you say hi to my daughter Sabrina. She's such a big fan. Oh, really? Hi, Sabrina. How's it going? Everybody here, say hi to Sabrina. And it's nice to know that I actually have younger fans. So it's fine and Sabrina. Oh, there's an S thing here. Just with the subtitles, sometimes you can't tell what they're saying. Yeah, I know. I prefer subtitles. Do I have any banned cartoon sets? Oh man, I don't think I do actually. Yeah, wait a minute. I've got some. I don't know if they're banned cartoons. I got a Vinegar Syndrome one, and that has kind of like more of adultish cartoons type of thing, and that's kind of fun in like the historical context of things. But it wasn't as good a documentary as I would have wanted it to be. But I've got like a lot of the sets that came from like some of the Tom and Jerry sets, which I think they put the alternate like versions of them on there. But definitely check it out. And Sabrina, thank you so much. I'm honored that you actually watched my channel. Actually, I really am. This one I had to bring over because this was mentioned by Tim earlier on, and this here is the Scream Theater set. It's 12 cheap chills put out by VCI, and VCI puts some really good stuff, some really quality stuff. And this is actually a really good set because some of this stuff is out now in some special editions, which is my Tom and Jerry collection. Did you get the gold collection volume 1? That's what I got right now, but there's some like really good showcase sets. I've only got one showcase set. I would like to have the rest. I don't know what if they're cut or not, but there's some that I really like. But this set here is VCI. I do recommend it. What's got you into black? See, there's the thing. Got you into blaxploitation, and from there on, you can go and get like some of the actual really cool blaxploitation ones. Volume 1, 2, and 3 of the show. Oh man, that's so cool. I've got one of the volumes here somewhere. I really don't know where it is right now. It's somewhere here along the animation wall. But I'm a huge Tom and Jerry fan. I grew up with Tom and Jerry. Oh, I missed that, by the way. I'm sorry. I turned away, and there's somebody's typed something up there, and I missed it. So I apologize. But I definitely do recommend this set. If you look in the back, you can see actually posters of some of the films on here. The classic Alice Sweet Alice poster that creeped me out when I was young. And there's great stuff. We got like Alice Sweet Alice on here, Beast of the Yellow Night, which I do recommend. Beyond Atlantis, which I think is one that's coming out from from Vinegar Syndrome. We have like Death Game. Death Game is here. And if you haven't seen Death Game, there's another title. It was remade actually by Eli Roth. It was a movie called Knock Knock. So I like to go back to the 70s. With me all though. 70s is a fun time. I can disco dance. So yeah, I would love to go back when my dancing would actually be relevant. By the time I learned how to disco, it was dead. I didn't know that. So I had one of my parents' records. You know, had a disco. I was learning how to do it. I was going to be real fancy. I was going to impress all the girls. I turned on the TV one day, and they're like burning disco records and stuff like that. So Knock Knock, you love the movie Knock Knock Savannah? It's a remake of a movie done in what year is it? It says right here in 1976, right? Yeah, 76, called Death Game. He said they would do a DVD Blu-ray combo. Beyond Landis, really? I heard that maybe it's not Beyond Landis. One of the movies, Twilight People, I think, is being put out by Vinegar Syndrome. I'm just really waiting for it. That's Pam Grier's now one, and it's got one that I really want to get like on a good edition. So if you like Knock Knock, by the way, Savannah, Death Game is the original Knock Knock. Yeah, there was like another version of it. House of the Living Dead's on here. The Night Creatures, Out of the Darkness. '78, that's on here as well. The Beast of the Yellow Night is good. It is a good movie, actually. Scream Bloody Murder is on here from '73. Sisters of Death is on here. Twilight People, I think that one's coming up from Vinegar Syndrome. These have put it Twilight People already on Blu-ray. You did? I think there's, if I'm correct, I think, don't quote me on this, Tim, but I heard that there may be it's a remake, yeah. Um, I like that actor is a chubby Filipino man who appears on Corman's films. I know you're talking about. I don't remember his name, but I know you're talking about. I think that Vinegar Syndrome is actually putting out. Uh, Vampire Happenings on this one here. Young Hannah, Queen of the Vampires. Crypt of the Living Dead, which also came out from Vinegar Syndrome. I'm finishing the Grinders Driving Collection with Trip to the Teacher, Malibu High. Malibu High is a really good movie, and it's a really like different film because with Malibu High, what's really cool. I saw the Green Inferno. The thing is, Savannah, I'll be honest with you, that may seem be a little bit wimpier here, but I'm not really big into a lot of the cannibal films. House of Living. I got that one actually. I got the Blu-ray when they found out that was another sick movie. I'm not so much into the cannibal films. I've got a few, and but they're not something that I put on. Like they're not something I really like enjoy watching like a lot. So Green Inferno, I really get what he was going for and what he did, but it just wasn't my what wasn't my thing. Though I did watch the film. Does this one have much on it? So this one here, 15 American Horror. Mel High's one. You get into the girl was not. You can no get into the girl was not very pretty. You couldn't get into because she wasn't pretty. See, Malibu High is one of those movies where it's not at all what you think it is. You start watching it. I don't know if I would have stomach to watch Cannibal Holocaust. Cannibal Holocaust is a hard movie to watch. Cannibal Holocaust is known because it's not even a really great movie. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to like sit here and like and talk like great stuff over Cannibal Holocaust. It was a movie that worked good on VHS because it kind of made it look like it was Malibu Beach and Double Feature. Those are very different films. I blew the other, definitely blew the other from out of the water. Malibu High is actually a very serious story. Yeah, the animal cruelty. I'm not into animal cruelty at all. I think that if they're going to put out those movies, and some people will argue, and they'll say, like the animal cruelty has to stand there as part of what the part of like the film. I don't think it is. I think in a lot of cases it detracts from what the original people were intending to do. And if you asked a lot of the directors, they would not have put it in there in the first place. So yeah, I think it should be the animal cruelty portion should be taken out. And I've had arguments with people over that. But I got my little kitty cats and stuff. I don't want to see animals get hurt. This one has The Haunting of Winchester House. I've never seen that movie. It's a low budget film, but considering the movie Winchester that came out, can't be any worse. Because her really messed up with that. Which is the one with the Pom Pom Girls, the 12 movie set? It's School Days, I think. This one here, School Days 8 movie collection. This is the original release that came out from BCI. This was re-released. I hope Grindhouse does amazing stuff, and I really like that. Say the Chemical God I watched on YouTube years ago. It seemed so slow. It was boring. And that yeah, it did have some animal cruelty, unfortunately. I like to see animal cruelty free editions. If you want to put them out with the animal cruelty in it, fine. But I really appreciate the fact that Grindhouse releasing it, who was just mentioned here, that I'm glad are coming back, actually gave the option of having an animal cruelty free version of the films on their editions, which was something that I really liked because I didn't want to see the animal cruel ones. But yeah, this is the school days. It was putted again with pretty much the exact same cover, I think, from Mill Creek. And if I ever find the Mill Creek edition, I'll pick it up because I want to have a backup of this because this is a really good set. It has My Tutor, which is actually a really good film. My Chauffeur, which Vinegar Syndrome put out. I got the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray of that one. Hunk, which is one that desperately, desperately needs a Blu-ray edition of. Tomboy with Betsy Russell. There's a classic right there. Jocks with Mariska Hargitay from Law and Order SVU. She starred one of these. Christopher Lee's in the movie Jocks, by the way. Sage Stallone, I think, came up with the Animal Cruelty Free version. It is sad. I mean, like Sage Stallone, here's a guy that had a real love for the stuff that we're talking about right now. If you want to talk about somebody, was definitely was a good guy, was not a poser, that really, really loved like the type of cinema that we watch, like the grindhouse kind. If you have to kill an animal to sell a film, you don't need to be a filmmaker. You're not a good filmmaker. And you know, a lot of the filmmakers that did it at the time regret it now. And I'm glad that they've spoken out against it. I know Mary Martino would not, like you said, it's a different time. You wouldn't do it now. A lot of them would said that if they had it back, they never would have done it. And you know, that's me. I'm an animal person. So I prefer animals to a lot of people. To be totally honest with you, I like my cats. I grew up. I had like two Newfoundland dogs. I've had animals all my life, and I've always been. And I can always say that you can always tell like a person by the way that the animals like treat them and the way they treat the animals. Um, that's my thought into it. But this one, yeah, as the pom pom grows on it, the van, and We Can Pass. So some really kind of decent 70s and 80s kind of sexploitation stuff. Now, this is the one that 70s teen movies, 80s any day. I like them both. You see, I have to understand, Carlos. I was a teen when the 80s teen movies came out, and I got to see like a lot of the John Hughes stuff. And a lot of them was very when I watched it, I was very formulaic. Speaking of crew, I basically am against it, but I guess I suspect the killing of the animals at the end of Apocalypse Now. And I'll be honest with you, Kubrick Apocalypse Now is one of my one of the class, and this is where I get into like a kind of a controversial, as they like to say, or unpopular opinion. I'm not a huge fan. That's not one of my favorite films. There's a movie from Mexico in the '80s where two actors were actually killed in the film. Jack Hill better than John Hughes. They're different. John Hughes was. You can't discount what John Hughes did with stuff like with Breakfast Club, but there are some stuff with that came out in the '70s that was very, very like brutally honest. But look at stuff like Porky's, and thing like The Last American Virgin, and Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Those they were early '80s films, and they had a much darker tone than you would expect. And you think movie Porky's, and you think just like kind of the funny stuff, like a kind of like the American Pie, but it's not. There's actually some serious like layers there. Your favorites, a lot of different favorites. That's the thing, right? Like, I like movies that Kubrick loved that not a lot of people like. Well, and when I say unpopular, Swinging Cheers is awesome. Unpopular opinion. That's because I know it's a good movie, but it's just one that I can't get into. That's that's what I mean by that. But so yeah, you are the popular opinion there. Brainstorm should release Jacko Switchblade Sisters. I think Switchblade Sisters, the version I got of it is actually from Tarantino, from Tarantino's company that he had, and that's the last time. I don't know if he still has the rights to it or not, but as a German release, there's a DVD edition that I've got, Switchblade Sisters, and Tarantino's company released it. Yeah, they also released the amazing Peking Man as well, which I don't have anymore. I used to have that. So this is the last. This is one of the ones that came out. So you have to go get ready for work. Oh, have a great day, Savannah, and enjoy you're working in the pool. So that's awesome. Rolling Thunder is an amazing film, by the way. This is the Chilling Classic collection. These are both the Chilling Classic collection. Switchblade Sisters is a fantastic film. I like Jacko. So this is the original release, which I think has an amazing cover, even though it's cardboard. And this is the re-release. When the re-release came out, I bought this first thinking I was going to get some of the movies that were on this. Luckily, I bought like a set of films of about a Mill Creek like collection from this guy, and I got the original Chilling Classics collection. And this is one of the kind of the sought after of the Mill Creek sets because it has some movies on here that had to be taken off. So what's on here that's not on the other one? So obviously, Bad Taste was taken off. And Bad Taste is a Peter Jackson film, and if you haven't seen it, then you really, really need to check out Bad Taste. I ask for the Lord. It's a fantastic little film. This has some. This set is so good. We got Sisters of Death, which now has a really good release. Switchblade Sisters. We got Saw Night, Bloody Night on here. Not a great edition of it. Like we got some bad. There's The Demons on it with Karen Mitchell. Cut version Deep Red. The original Kathy's Curse. Before they put out the really great like Severin edition that kind of blew all this away. Bell from Hell is on here. Eat Your Skin. Legend of Bigfoot. Medusa. Murder Mansion. Naked Massacre. The Revenge of Dr. X is on here. A lot of really, really cool stuff. So, on this edition here, they had to replace movies like Bad Taste. I honestly don't know what they replaced it with, but I do know that this one here, they both had like Devil Times 5, which I think is a fantastic one too. Oh, I love to see more Crown come out. Ever watch every single movie on those 50 sets? Some people don't even have time to. I've actually, you'd be surprised at how many I actually have watched. One Halloween, may have been like 2.5 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. I actually sat down and I started watching. I just picked the set and I just started watching from the set and I just started turning on movies and I would like, it was a time I had some time off and I'm not sure why. I was probably going to school at the time or I was just finished. So anyway, I sat down and I started watching one right after the other. And some of them blended into one another. So yeah, you get some repeated over and over again. But this one here would really be repeated because it's like and we got great stuff. I mean, the Driller Killer is on this one with Abel Ferrara. The Hearse, again, which has a fantastic release by Vinegar Syndrome, which I do recommend. I got to get that myself. Where do you go to buy movies? Online, at stores, or both? I would prefer to buy movies in stores if I could. Unfortunately, Kubrick Lover, it's not that way so much anymore. It is online. It is like that is the way that it tends to be going now. I do get a lot of my stuff on now. I basically go to eBay and buy used. I don't think of eBay anymore. I used to buy a lot of stuff on eBay, but I really should go back to it because there's a lot of good stuff in there. Good morning, Action Jackson. You got me close to the end of this video actually, and hope you are doing fantastic there. I'm trying to think of the other things that were taken off this one here. Gothic was taken off, yeah, from the original Chilling Classics collection. Dead Time Stories is not on here, so I'm guessing that one's taken off before it even came about to actually put on. But it's neat to see how much is the same and different yet in these sets. And as you can see, when you open it up, these early ones here had like the description. And they're fun. I mean, like you could take, if you wanted to, you could take a couple of these out when you're traveling or something like that. 100 sci-fi chess. Oh, cheese, and a one cut 100 cheese and movies of all time. I would love to have that. We don't have Target around here anymore, sadly. You got the blue one. This one. This is the one. This is the original Action Jackman. This is the one that a lot of people like really want to have. This was a re-release where they had to change a couple of the movies because a couple of them like they had the issues. But this was like in the re-release. It kind of like had a bit of thinner. It's kind of like a bit of a thinner paper. I do like the way that they're done though. I kind of remember Murder Mansion, and I definitely remember Death Rage. So it's Yul Brynner. Okay, Eat Your Skin, of course. Targeted 15 more sets. Oh yeah, there's a few that they had to basically had to change because basically what happened is that they lost the right. Like this one here has has Bad Taste on it, and Ken Russell's Gothic. Still a decent selection. See, Target, we had Target here for like a year and then it went. I don't think Target gave us enough time to actually get over here in Canada. I was at Target right from the beginning and I was buying from them on a regular basis. I loved a lot of Target stuff. They brought in some different films. They brought in some different like foods and stuff as well that I really enjoyed. Oh my God, my voice is going. But You have two Targets. See, no Targets here. I'd have to drive across to the States to get to a Target there, Tim. But I guess there we go. That's I'm going to just shift this over here so that I can actually do kind of a really quick look at some of the other sets. And so let's do that. Huh? So Best Buy disappoints. Best Buy disappoints everybody nowadays. I used to work for Best Buy when they were good. Set. I'm going to tell you that everybody needs to own. See this one here? Girls, Guns, and G-Strings. Own this one. It is the Andy Sedaris collection. It's a really, really good set. It does actually has Easter eggs and everything on it. I think some of these have like there's commentaries on this as well. This is you can buy this one for $5. It's incredible. Definitely worth checking out. This is a Western collection. Got some like Sartana stuff. Massacre Time is actually a really good George Hilton film. God's Gun is on here. Light the Fuse, Sartana is Coming. It's a good way to check out stuff like that. A little bit more, I guess, on the more expensive side, but if you can find it for really cheap, you got the Sedaris set. I might recommend. I hope you liked it because I really do find the Sedaris films like a lot of fun. And if you're like into Vinegar Syndrome and any of their stuff at all, then the Sedaris films. I hope that down the road, Vinegar Syndrome does a box set, and I hope that the first box set that they do is Andy Sedaris because I think that would be amazing. Because they could really do it. They could really do it well. Vice Academy. This was put out by BCI. Unfortunately, BCI is not around anymore. That's some special features, director's commentary, interviews on here, and like the first three Vice Academy movies. There's a second set, Volume 2, which I don't have. I've been looking for ages. If anybody ever comes across Volume 2 and has an extra copy, wants to send it my way, I would really appreciate it. I've been looking for it for a long, long time. But there are so many of those like really good sets that I can recommend. So many ways to just see some amazing stuff. And with that being said, I'm actually slowly putting back some of this. The VCI has a special place in your heart. VCI does, but BCI is a company that really kind of like started for me with these sets. Even before Mill Creek, I had, oh god, and I have one of them here too. Age's Revenge. I would love the Angels trilogy. I don't have it actually. I grew up with the Angels films. It actually, I think, although people want to forget about it, there's a fourth Angels film. Trying to put these here together. That's just going to me way too close up. The complete series, Star Lost. Oh yeah, that I remember. I gotta say, some of these here are just amazing, amazing stuff. I should probably do this with the cameras off, but I want to talk to you guys for a couple more minutes because there's a couple things that I kind of want to show you guys. And that I want you guys to see. School Days, still one of my favorites of all time. You go to hell. So, this is kind of like the first. Hold on, I got to show you this. Then I got to go have tea before I go to sleep. So these here, like BCI, these platinum sets were probably kind of some of the first that I ever saw when I was looking at those. And this was platinum. The BCI, some ones like this too, and they were like really cheap looking, and they had like, you open them up, and there's like, I don't think this was even open. I just wanted to have this one. I have most of these on other sets anyway, but I just want to have one of these unopened ones. So platinum releases, and there's like Devil's Messenger, the Ghost Walks, and I think I had one of these here. I'm not sure if it's platinum or BCI, but it had like a, and you can see it's very kind of like cheaply done stuff, but it had like the Night Train to Terror, and it was my first viewing of Night Train to Terror. I hadn't seen it before that. I'm not going to pretend that I had. I saw Night Train Terror for the first time on a one of those like mega sets, and I watched it, and it was bafflingly, insanely weird. And I was into that movie so much when I'm watching it, and the song, and I still to this day, everybody's got something to do, everybody but you. That's the it stuck with me. God, I'm gonna have songs stuck in my head all night now. But yeah, I really did like a lot of these sets. They kind of like, I think was at a Dominion, kind of a superstore where I originally saw them. And I fell in love with them. And I found movies like Night Train to Terror. I found little movies that I hadn't seen before. I found movies that kind of like slipped under my radar, or for some reason I'd forgotten the name of, or it had a different name. And a lot of the stuff that I like now, a lot of the stuff that I got to watch now, some of the stuff. So recently saw your review of Night Train to Terror. Oh, really? Because I moved for the first. I hope did I do okay? I can't remember. That's an older review, but I really did love that movie. And I do recommend if you got the Vinegar Syndrome edition of Night Train to Terror, watch the other disc with the film on it. It'll give you a completely different look at the other at one of the segments of Night Train to Terror, because it's the completed film is on there, and it's really really good. Unfortunately, that actress did not act in anything else aside from that, I don't think, and it's a shame because she really had kind of a weird kind of like unique chemistry about her that I was really really drawn to, and I would love to have seen more films with her in them. But yeah, these sets introduced me to stuff like, and I grew up with films. I grew up with like the VHS and all that stuff. So that was your first pick up from Vinegar Syndrome. Yeah, it was 4 years ago. It was my first pick, and it was up in Ottawa, Ontario, actually. I was going to a convention and an Ottawa Comic Con, and I couldn't find a lot at the Comic Con at the time. And we're going around these different stores, and I was getting depressed because I couldn't find anything. And we come across this store, and we go up, and it's upstairs, and it's kind of out of the way. And we get up there, and all they have is genre stuff. Like, just imagine going to a store, like imagine like a Best Buy or like a little store, out the way store. But instead of like seeing the regular stuff, there's none of the regular stuff. But there's Vinegar Syndrome, and there's Arrow, and there's Mondo Macabre. Like all the that place is now closed down, unfortunately. Or I would definitely go back there again. But that is all they had. You dealt exclusively in genre labels, and it's a shame that a place like that no longer exists. But yeah, it is. It was heaven to go into, and I looked forward to going up there and seeing it again. And when I went up the next time, it had unfortunately closed down. The pretentious records shop that didn't carry a lot of movies was still there, but that place unfortunately was not. And with that semi-sad story, guys, I have had a blast with you guys tonight. I did not plan to do this video. Uh, because you're a big supporter. I'm a huge supporter of Vinegar Syndrome, Jesse. So anybody there that actually ever is on Vinegar Syndrome's like Twitter or any of that type of stuff, let Vinegar Syndrome know that I've been supporting them all the way through. I've literally been the Vinegar Syndrome unofficial mascot, especially throughout last year when my channel pretty much for a lot of it, and some people were put off by it, got taken over by Vinegar Syndrome stuff to the point where I actually had somebody say, "Do you work for Vinegar Syndrome?" No. And then I got asked questions, do you get free movies or money from Vinegar Syndrome? No, I wish you would send me movies. I would love that because uh, everything that I got here, either I was sent by a viewer like you, uh, but so Vinegar Syndrome, so maybe he's he's picky. Yes, that's it. Picky. That's what you call it. Picky for good films, good quality B and Z grade films. Pickle because vinegar. Oh, I think you said picky. So, but I like the pickle thing. That's actually kind of cool. Like pickle Rick. I've seen your name mentioned when I check out their. Oh, really? Like from somebody else. That's not me. You mean? That's actually kind of awesome. I like that. I know that I've a couple podcasts. I've actually like on their Twitter and stuff. I've like in podcast people have mentioned me that I've spoken with their podcasts and stuff, which is that's really picky though. Pickle Rick. I like Pickle Rick. Yeah, maybe that's my next costume. Maybe. Oh, one other thing. Hold on. I'm gonna take you over here. This is kind of cool. So I'm gonna put this back. But these, yeah. This is a Mill Creek release. There's also a BCI one, After Dark Thrillers. Definitely worth picking up. It's got a lot of stuff that came out from Vinegar Syndrome. If you want to see the stuff before you grab Vinegar Syndrome, man, just because I got this doesn't mean I won't get the Vinegar Syndrome stuff, because a lot of these I definitely will. So we got movies on here like Blue Money, Double Exposure, Sound Familiar, guys? Professor Pickleman, the Triple P, Hot Target, Click is on here, French Quarter, just some great stuff. Some have been put out with Vinegar Syndrome, some hasn't, and some really super cheesy stuff. So I'm a big fan of the really horrible watching a channel called Serial at Midnight, and he recommended your videos. Oh, did he? Oh, I'm a huge fan of Serial at Midnights. I watch his videos on a regular basis, and I was actually also 13th Wolfman is on here a lot of times, and he's fantastic. He does like a podcast too called The Dorkening, which I do recommend as well. But actually, Serial at Midnight, I was watching some movies, some videos of him actually today, and I looked over my better half. It's a shorter cut. I know Vinegar Syndrome is a longer X-rated cut. I like that. And I told my better half that Serial at Midnight kind of reminds me of me early on, especially not early on in that way, but as he's got his kid there, and actually that's really kind of cool. Mr. Parks has mentioned you, and the channel Mood 616, which those are all. Oh, it's so weird to be like this, you know. Some fantastic people. Moods, I think, found my channel. He told me when I was doing like I think it was a Franco video. I had this like Franco set, which I no longer have actually. I thought I was going to get it back again. My dad was a huge Franco fan, so I gave him that set, and I've never found it again. R-rated cut still flows, so I got to see it. I haven't watched it yet through there. I've been wanting to see the kind of the other cut, kind of like A Woman's Torment. I like the X-rated cut more than I like the R-rated cut. But oh yeah, this here, Witchcraft. This has some of the later Witchcraft films, which are really bad, but they're really worth seeing. They're so bad that they are worth seeing. And just like some great stuff on it, like Bone Setter and Skinned Alive's on here. Ghoul School. I don't know if I've seen that. But these here are some awesome covers, and there's some pretty cheesy bad movies that I do think need to be checked out. So with that, guys, I am on my knees here, literally talking to you guys. Have a fantastic night. I am Aaron. You guys are the movie club. You guys are awesome, and I always have a blast talking to you. Also, thank you so much for watching and like coming on at this time of night. And you're right, Jesse, Tim, Action Jackman, Carlos, everybody, Sabrina, if you're still there, thank you very much for coming in. But for me right now, it is time for tea. Have a great evening, guys.